We're now going to find out whether or not we did a good job here. Bullnose corner bead. Not quite as easy as you might be hoping for. These bulkheads are lower than 77 inches. The building code in Ontario, where I'm obviously working, states that anything lower than 77 inches must be done in bullnose bead because people will whack their heads on it. This house I'm working on right now has a very unique opportunity to demonstrate some stuff with the bullnose bead right here. This is just a little sample piece, obviously, but this is also, after I cut it off, it's a tool. And this little piece here is going to help you massively to get that bead up right. And let's show you how. Now this horrifying basement that I'm working on, yeah, it's actually not as bad as I made that sound. It did not get cut back for bullnose. Now, what I mean by cut back is I'll show you this on this stand-up. I'm gonna put the bullnose on, and we'll get there, and you'll notice that the bead is touching right there. That bead is not tight. You can see it, I can wiggle it back and forth. Very, very bad thing. This will not stay, this will not work properly, and you will not have happy customers, or if this is for yourself, you will not like your finished product. That flange right there, they're going to pop out on you wherever, and it's gonna change depending on where you go. Now, as you see, I'm sliding this along the whole way, and that's exactly why I cut this off. Up here, I have already taken my drywall knife and cut back the drywall on a 45-degree angle to fit this stuff better. We can put it on, and now we can see that our bead is no longer touching any drywall anywhere in the round. Matter of fact, I probably cut this back a little bit too much, but cutting it back is not exactly the easiest thing, especially if you've got a fire-rated basement, say as an apartment. They're gonna want fireboard up there, and if there's fireboard up there, well, you're better off using like hand grenades or something to cut this back. As you're fooling around with these things, getting them on, this piece will go on first, but after you get it on, it's going to be a little difficult to measure your remaining pieces. This one's going to be a full piece, so it just slides right on, but this one you want measured nicely. Now, once you put up your piece of bead to measure it, I'm just going to grab this one again. What happens is you start knocking this down and moving it around, and you don't get it as accurate as you could. And you definitely want it as accurate as possible. What I do, it's really quite simple. I just simply pencil around where these edges are. So I'm going to cut this first piece, but I'm having a little bit of trouble getting my stick bead in here. I could use a measuring tape, but I tend to prefer not doing that. Now this is the trim text, I think it's trim text, made of plastic. Anyways, I could just bend it around, but I don't want to fight with it and have it wobbling around. So I just simply cut a little bit of a piece off of there, and I'm gonna make it too long. I think I'm right out of the camera range here. There's my piece that's too long. Can you even see the pencil lines? Yeah, a little bit on the camera. Right there. If you really want to get accurate, get your pencil line right on there. After you've made your mark, we'll just say it's right there where you want to create your nice cut. Take an old scrap piece. Now, the scrap piece that you want has to have this edge here straight from the factory cut. They're going to make the nicest cut for us. It just simply goes on there, template. Get your pencil line. Now you got to remember, the pencil line is not perfectly tight, so you're going to have to cut on the inside of that. So, I love to use an absolute ton of mud when it comes to the trim text, the plastic stuff. And I do not use the spray-on glue. I'm not trying to tell you can't use the spray-on glue. I have just simply found that with the spray-on glue, it sticks so well, once it's on, it's on. If you have something crooked, you probably will not get the opportunity to straighten it out. I thought I'd just show you a can of the glue that I was talking about there. I found this one, I believe it was at Rona. I'm almost positive you can get it at Home Depot as well. And as always, if you have a drywall supplier in your area, they're going to be selling this as well. Another thing I wanted to mention is I am determined to continually improve the quality of these videos and the quality of my ability to teach. A subscription from you guys would really be helpful, and I figure this is a tough video for me to film. If you're in here this long, maybe it's worth your while to subscribe, so thanks for that. And again, a ton of mud in these, and then it's going to be spewing out everywhere. Get that on. Now I'm going to just get a little on top. See if I remember which piece is which. So far, so good. What an ugly mess up there so far. If you ever have a little concern that you need a little bit more mud, one trick, let's see if I can put my pan up. There we go, and like that. I take this bead and I literally scoop the ends. I actually do this very frequently with all sorts of bead. Pretty much, it's just simply a matter of when you get this on, it's that little bit extra where you're joining two pieces together. You want it up there oozing out. It's filling that crevice, which is a real nuisance. Okay, let's clean this out. When you're using a paper-faced bullnose bead, you're going to find it's a little prettier looking at first. Now, I've got mixed feelings about both the paper-faced and the trim text. I like the way this plastic trim text wants to keep its shape. If you have something crooked, it's going to want to straighten itself out. And that's exactly why I'm using mud instead of glue. I want this stuff to do its own straightening. You're going to have to be kind of delicate, no question about that. Otherwise, you're going to wiggle everything around. And when we put this last long piece on, you want to be extra careful because this is loose. I'm going to dip both ends into my pan. I'm not going to bother showing you that. Okay, once again, mud on the end. Let's put it up. Carefully set it into place, maybe a little bit away. And now it's almost impossible to see. Hold your end cap in place and wiggle that on until it's snug. You can usually tell just by feeling it with your hand. I like to clean that spot up right away to make sure it's tight. And guess what? It's not. Much better. Coating this bead tends to be a whole lot easier, a lot less painstaking, a lot less work than putting the bead on. Feel free to use a pan and knife if that is your tool of choice. I don't recommend trowels or putty knives one over the other. I've seen guys use those big 12-inch knives with such ease, it leaves me in wonder. I myself am much better with a hawk and trowel, but I use both, and I just find it a lot easier like that. The reason being is that I find a trowel and most people will tell you this too, for bulk work like corner bead, it's a lot easier to shovel more mud on and work with it. Whereas a putty knife, even the 12-inch knife, on a joint like this in the tight area might be easier for something short. Definitely those little short joints around doors, windows. But anyway, let's grab one more scoop of mud. Now that you've actually seen the mud go on. And I'm going to continue on the bottom here. Don't make it quite the width of the trowel. You don't want to do that, otherwise it'll start spewing out the side. Next thing you know, you've got something 5 feet wide. Get the mud on. Make sure that everything is full, especially at the edge here. But those holes there, they can be a nuisance. Okay, so first thing I'll do is one trowel right onto the bead. You're trying to make sure you're hitting this bead so it's nice and flat. From there, this is going to seem like extra unnecessary work. I clean that bead off several times depending on what I'm looking for. From there, then the trowel bent. That's called your feather. You've now pushed it down so that there's really no visible change between the drywall mud and the drywall paper. It's just a smooth transition. And if you've done everything right, your mud should be highest right here, which is great. I'm setting a hot down. If you're lucky and you get skilled enough, you can actually cause your trowel or putty knife to bend up like that. That's obviously an exaggeration. That will overfill your bead. Normally I don't even show that to new people. I'm just simply showing people in case they ever want to give that a try. So anyways, again, exaggerated. It won't even overfill by 1 millimeter for our American friends. That's 1/16 of an inch, 30 seconds, somewhere in there. One last one over. And you're done right there. Yeah. Up here, quite a nuisance. This sort of thing, that's a difficult maneuver for a trowel. I don't think I was capable of doing it for my first 25 years. That's so embarrassing. So I'm going to show this. For something like that, you don't take your mud like you normally would. Get it on the tip. And I'm even going to add more. You can't see it on the camera, and you can't even see it in person. That felt hollow to me. Okay, there's excess. Feather. Are you able to get the camera in? Can you see that line? That line is your friend. I know it might seem ridiculous, but it is helpful. That's what builds up the corner bead instead of it hollowing out and looking like some sort of ski ramp or something to drive the car up on. Anyways, from there, I'm not pushing very hard here because I've already taken it down to the bead here. I've taken it feathered over here. So it's just spreading that out as nice and flat as possible. And now we're just cleaning that off. And at the end, I'm not done the bead. I'm done. Nobody wants to watch me cook bead all day long. Here we take this, clean it off. So I like to make myself a little cleaning tool. Pretty much consists of me clipping off the corners. This, make it nice and straight and smooth. You want that cut smooth, whole, just one fluid motion. This is for the sole purpose of cleaning off that bead. It'll scrape it off nicely for you, and then you don't have to go out and buy one of those. Okay, it's all sanded. The end cap sanded. The joint over here is sanded. Well, this is the good thing already. I can't find it. There it is. It's a little bit different color than the bead is, but if you can't find it, you know you've hidden it pretty well already. One more coat is definitely not going to hurt. We're going to do this one more time over here. It actually came out quite nicely, which I'm pleased with because every once in a while they don't. Just go over it one more time, thin layer of mud. And as I've said before, you really want to get this right early on, long before your finished coat. If you don't, it's going to be really difficult for that finished coat to turn out nicely. And that's very sandable. We're now going to find out whether or not we did a good job here. See how easy this is to sand. You might think this is a little strange, but I like to do the detail work right here first. Now the reason for that is when you fold your piece of sandpaper over like this, or your sanding sponge, you tend to sand a little bit further than the round of the bullnose. Now, if you've already finished sanded, it's flat. You want to remain flat. And now you're actually taking it down and creating a little hollow spot. So my observations and the people that I talk to all seem to agree that it's better to sand the round of the bullnose before you actually pull sand. Some people prefer using the sanding sponge. The jury's out for me, which I prefer. But unfortunately right now my sanding sponges are underneath my camera and I don't feel like setting up everything again because I have an impossible time getting good lighting in these basements. Camera. Now this is a good example of why you need a mask. My lungs are half full now.